All right, leg 2, end of all roads from Homer, Alaska for me, Anchorage for Bob, going to Halifax. Today, I started in Kenai, Alaska, Glenn and I, and we flew in yesterday, and I flew in 2 days ago, and then spent one day, which was yesterday, getting all my gear ready, unpacking, repacking, and said a big long goodbye to the folks that kept my bike and Glenn's truck. They completely rewired the truck, or the trailer. All the wiring was shot from the Dempster Highway, and Bill, who owns the log house that we stored our stuff at, is an electrician, and he works on the Alaska pipeline, and he's an electrician, so all things electric, the guy's a pro at, and so he saw that our wiring wasn't so good, so he redid the entire wiring and took the truck to get fixed. And so we showed up, truck is fixed, trailer's ready to go, bike is clean, and I can't ask for a better host. They were absolutely fantastic, and their pad was incredible. And so that was yesterday, and then today we rode. I rode up to Anchorage to meet Bob, who got in from Japan, and we were headed that way, and we got a little detour because we didn't want to miss Seward, and Seward is a really cool town. So we, about halfway up from Kenai towards Alaska, or towards Anchorage, we took a detour and went down to Seward, which is a really neat ride with these really great views, these gorges and these beautiful lakes, and then you come to the end of the road, and it's just beautiful ocean view. Although when we got there, it was kind of rainy. Didn't take a lot of video just because it was kind of a soggy day, and we were kind of hustling to go meet Bob, who was checking out of his hotel at 2, and we said, oh, we'll be there at noon. We got there at 4:30. Sorry, dude. And so,
that's okay.
Then anyway, met up with Bob, and do you want to tell about your adventure getting here?
How so?
About Bob came from Japan.
Oh,
so, yeah.
I guess I'm pretty tired.
Yeah, because it is 11 o'clock at night here, by the way, or 11 o'clock at day, p.m.
You'd never know
that
it.
is.
You would never know it.
But Bob came from Japan, long road to get here.
Yeah, I arrived, had a wedding to go to up in Sapporo, then flew down from Sapporo to Tokyo. Tokyo, hopped on a flight to Seattle, and then ran and jumped on Delta amazingly within about 25 minutes from touching down in Seattle, and got up to Anchorage yesterday at about 2:30 in the afternoon. Spoke with Chris, who works at the motorcycle shop. That is an entirely different story, but awesome person, awesome individual, awesome businessman. Can't say enough about the company. They are a great company. Motorcycle shop in Anchorage. If you don't know anything about them, if you're interested in motorcycles, if you're in Anchorage, please go take a look at them. Tell Chris we said hello. Great guy. Anyways, on his day off, came back to open up the shop. Took out my bike today, 8 o'clock in the morning, and fired it up. A little bit of a battery problem. He fixed it, and off it went. So, great deal. So excited to be back on the bike. Today was kind of a boring day for me, running around. I should have vlogged it just because boring is sometimes crazy and fun. The Walmart, Apple Store, had to buy a brand new computer, all sorts of nonsense going on there, but all in all, bags and bags and bags and food and whatnot for the next, 27 days?
Yes, something like that.
I don't know. Anyways, sleep was short last night. Jet lag had me up at 5 a.m., so about 4 hours of sleep today. Dan showed up at 4:30-ish, hopped on the road, 4:30-ish, whatever it was, and took off to Talkeetna to see my sister, which was a good surprise. She was in town for a cruise. Great to see family, awesome to see people on this trip, and that's what this is
Explain
all
that
about.
whole story about how they wound up being here. I mean, really, like, how big of a coincidence it was with them. Like, that was completely unplanned. When did you find out they were even going to be here?
Actually, last month I didn't know exactly the time frame, and we didn't have it figured out at all as to where they were going to be, but I was at my brother's for christening, and my niece and nephew got christened. Talked to my sister. She said, oh, I'm going to be in Alaska. Where are you going to be? And Oh, I'm in Anchorage. Bike's in Anchorage. I'll be back there somewhere around 15th to the 19th. Not really sure. Got to figure out my days off. Got to drop some trips and get out of some work that I wasn't planning on doing. Thankfully, that ended. Dropped the trips. And lo and behold, everything worked out. Went to the wedding. Came here and just called her and said, "Where you at?" I knew you guys were going to be on the boat. Knew you guys were going to be somewhere between a boat and a land tour. And she said today that they were up in just north of Denali, and they were heading down into Talkeetna. They were doing some dog sledding, Iditarod, visiting an Iditarod guy. I don't remember his name, but 42 dogs and crazy experience they had today that they told us about. But amazingly, they were here and spoke to Dan about it. Took a little bit of a 2.5-hour 100-mile detour, maybe more than that, because by the time we go around to Fairbanks,
the wrong direction. We got 5,500 miles. We've got 5,500 miles to go, and we're a little worried about budgeting the time. And let's go, whatever it was.
2-day detour.
Yeah, and 2 days, and then it's gonna be 2 days back the wrong direction. So 2 days the wrong direction, 2 days back just to get back to our starting point, to then add to our 5,500 miles. So was not planned, but this whole trip is been, we have a starting point, we have a finishing point, but we keep meeting people along the way that keep changing our route just because we keep hearing of things to see and do. And this one, when Bob laid on me that his family was here, it's like, well, what are the chances of family being here?
Yeah.
So, well, we got to do that. So it's going to cost us a few days, and it's going to make us have to hustle for a few days, which sucks because we don't want to miss things on this trip. And unfortunately, especially this leg in particular, of our lap around the world, this is going to be the longest leg of the entire trip around the world. Most of our segments are going to be, anywhere from, 1,500 to 3,000 miles maybe. And this one is, 5,500 now plus whatever we did today. And now we're going to head north up to Fairbanks through Denali, Fairbanks, and Fairbanks. Then we're going to finally start making our way eastbound. But so if you don't mind me telling a little bit of your story.
No, great.
So because from an outsider's perspective, it was really cool to see how happy his sister was, and in particularly, and your brother-in-law too, but your sister, man, was just beaming. And his nieces, how old are your nieces?
They are 16 and 14.
16 and 14. And let me tell you the Uncle Bob stories that were coming. It was really cool to see that. And you can tell them about giving your what do you say, 14-year-old niece?
She had never been on a motorcycle before, and she was excited as could be to be on a motorcycle. So I took her for a little ride around Talkeetna. Slow little cruise, and absolutely loved it. Put the helmet on her, showed her how the intercom worked, played some music in the ears, and she was loving it. So her mom seems to think that we may have created a monster. Hopefully so. That'd be good. Adventure is always great, and I hope that happens for her. So.
And Talkeetna is a really, really cool town. I mean, I feel like I keep saying that about so many of these towns in Alaska, but Talkeetna is this really cool little village. There's a couple airports in Talkeetna, one of which we did a glacier flight last month on leg 1 when we got up to Anchorage, and we were pretty much finished with the tour. We had 2 extra days. We got here 2 days early, and so we did a couple day rides, one of which was to Talkeetna, and got on a plane, landed on a glacier, and that was one of many highlights of the last leg from Seattle up to Anchorage. And it's just a really, really neat town with all these cool little cafes and ice cream shops, and there's a brew pub there, which we spent some time at. And
small town, maybe like 800, if not less than that.
Yeah, it's teeny
small.
tiny.
It's small.
Teeny tiny with planes buzzing around everywhere, and really ancient planes. Which we're aviators, we enjoy all things aviation, and there was some really, if you enjoy anything with airplanes, this is a really neat place just to gawk at airplanes. And so anyway, now we left Talkeetna. We're just outside of Talkeetna, and we rented this little chalet cabin thing, which there's 3 of them here. And again, it's, what time is it exactly? It's about, I think it's about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And you can see, obviously, it's just 11:10 p.m. And you can see it's just, It's the land of the midnight sun, man. Today is July 17th.
Yep.
And so we just missed the summer solstice, which would have been really cool to be here on the actual midnight sun, but we're here just after it. So now we get these long, several hour long sunsets. Alaska has been fantastic, and although we're leaving to head across Canada, I think both of us could definitely hang out here.
There's been much that's been missed.
Man, we could.
There's months and months and months that you can spend here and explore and see, and I will be back for sure.
Absolutely. And one thing also worth mentioning is the other guy, Brian.
Oh, that guy.
That guy.
Poor Brian.
Poor Brian. Poor Brian.
Brian, I wish you were here, man.
Oh, man, I wish you were here too, buddy. Sorry about the there, but I keep covering up this microphone. I know it's going to be kind of loud. Anyway, Brian. So Brian is, he tore out his rotator cuff. I mentioned that on the last leg, and he rode along with Glenn in the last leg in the truck. So the two of them, and it killed him to tow his bike and watch us ride. But this time, he's got some physical therapy he's got to do. He's got a family reunion, some family stuff going on. So unfortunately, due to those things, he's going to miss this one leg. But the next leg, he's about ready to ride now. He's actually, against his doctor's orders, been riding his other motorcycle around Guam with us, because we're riding for a month and then we take a month off and we go back to Guam, where we have to work for a month in order to pay for this trip. So a month on, month off of riding. So on our month back at work, he's been riding around the island, which he's really not supposed to be doing. Doctor's not really happy about it, but anyway, he's just chomping at the bit, and the distances in Guam are pretty short, so he can kind of pull it off. But what we're doing now is a lot more grueling, and it's harder on your body. So he is going to join us for sure in the next leg, for sure. You know what? It's really not the same without him. It really isn't. So, and Justin was kind of a guest rider on the last leg, and he is talking about possibly joining us from Mexico. And I do believe he'll make it, but I will say also, we've had a lot of people say they're going to join us on legs. If anybody's going to show up, I would say Justin is one that would show up.
Totally. He'll be there.
It's not for lack of wanting to. It's just a matter of these trips are hard to make happen, really. I mean, there's a lot that's got to come together, and it's hard to get time off and family and all the stuff that everybody juggles in life. It's hard to make these trips happen. So.
And it's not A to B to A. We're pressing on and continuing on, where other people may have to turn around and double back to go to somewhere that they need to go, versus us. We're just pressing on to the next place. And once we get into Mexico,
I mean, we're really committed to keeping on. So, all the way down to South America, and we are looking at going into Antarctica. Once we get down to the southern tip of South America, we're really hopeful. We're kind of unsure right now with the logistics of it. We're trying to work it out, but we're really hoping to get to Antarctica, and then that would really be epic if we're able to make that happen. Which, obviously, with all things Antarctica, they're very, very conscientious of environmental concerns. So when you talk about putting anything with a motor,
I hope they don't have mosquitoes like birds. Check this thing out. It's like a bird.
Yeah. Thank God for DEET. And you know what? Oh, you killer.
Gotta get rid of it. They're all over the place.
You're not a Buddhist, are you?
I missed it. I think I missed it.
Okay, well, if Buddha might say you're coming back to life. Next life is an Alaskan mosquito. Okay. All right, so a couple beers into it, I think it might be time to sign off. So that's the update for night 1 and leg 2. End of all roads. We're going to try to be better this time around of keeping up with our blog and cutting some videos and cutting these video logs into shorter than 14-minute video logs. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.